Around an attendance sheet. A lot of you signed this on the way in, which is awesome, but if you didn't, sign it up as it's going around. You guys signed it, but I'll still start with you. Okay. So to start, we're going to do some introductions. We have a board of 9 members for the Sedalia Area Farmers Market. This year, Teresa Fortune is our president. She is a longtime market supporter, and she's a master gardener and really loves the market a lot. This year, Benita Riley with Back Yonder Farm, she's in the back. She is our vice president. They are longtime farmers market vendors.
Richie's not included in that, I guess?
Well, she was the one elected to. She's the one that said that she would do it. And then Bev Rawlings up here at this front table manning the camera. She is the treasurer. So if any of you brought your application and vendor fees tonight, she's who you see to pay those. She's also one of the co-founders of the market. And then Beth Johnson is right here. She is our secretary and our tech guru. She takes care of, she's like, please don't say that. She's better than the rest of us. She runs the website and everything. And then Heidi and Tim Alger fill another one of the vendor spots on our board. They're with Alger Livestock. They can't be here tonight because their son's basketball game got rescheduled to tonight. And then Tim and Matt Tennell are over here with Triple H Farms. They are longtime farmers market vendors. And then we have Siska, who's standing at the back. She was a vendor at the market and has been on the board for a number of years. She is another farmers market supporter. And then Brenda Rates, who is one of the co-founders. She can't be here tonight either. Her father had surgery today, so she's with him. And then I am Amber Pena, and I'm the market manager at the market right now. And then we have Kirk Martin. He's here with the Pettis County Health Department to do some training for us. And then some of you have met Jeff. He's in this back. Is he still back there?
Jeff, can you step out for a second? Step out,
This is Jeff. He's with Weights and Measures. And he's calibrating everybody's scales right now. So he'll do a little bit of a presentation in a minute. All right. So now we want to hear from all of you guys. So if you could take just a few seconds and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you hope to sell at the market this year. So Kim, I kind of introduced you, but I didn't say what you sell and everything. So go ahead.
I'm Kim Tennell. This is my other half over there. We are with Triple H Family Farms. We do produce and all that includes. No. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm Natalia Cohen and hoping to sell coffee, something new. We started, I work at Ozark Coffee, so it's something we picked up there. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm Kent Stofford. I do produce. I'm Kent's Town Line Gardens.
Okay. Go ahead, Marty. We'll zigzag around.
Yoder's Fried Pies. Me and my husband Joe, and we do sell fried pies.
I'm Adam Templeton. We'll be doing produce, cut flowers, hopefully, and a little bit of a few other little things. I think we're going to go with Templeton Family Homestead this time. This will be our comeback to the market.
Return tour. Awesome.
I'm Ellen Carmen with my husband Eugene. We sell vegetables of various kinds. I bake pies and cinnamon rolls, make lots of jams and jellies, and we have lots of mums in the fall.
Yes. Mums. All right, Marla.
I'm Marla Steppich. I'm half of Flowers and Prints. My daughter might join me this year. Soft dolls. Everything but monkeys.
All right.
Okay, I'm Vicki Norton, and I sell pies. She's smiling.
I'm Marissa Kellner, and my business is Dolce Di Marchi, and I sell Italian baked goods, macarons, sourdough bread, and other stuff like that.
I'm Acton.
celebration sheets, so I customize sugar cookies, cupcakes, and cake pops.
Hey, I'm Jill Stephenson from Heinsoft Farm, and I sell produce.
I'm Mary Schrock, and I sell baked things of wide variety.
I'm Nancy Mendez. I'm selling lemonade and pupusas. Sometimes I hope maybe this year pupusas come back again.
We love cookies.
Eric Warren, business is head-to-head farms, mostly produce, and then eggs, and then bread, and a few handcrafted items.
Beulah Valley Farm, we sell produce as well as some crafts.
I'm Jeremiah Neal. We used to have Bristol Ridge Farms. We were some of the first vendors whenever the market first opened, went for several years. And we're considering turning back.
Glad to have you.
I'm Paul Walter, and I sell the gamut of fresh baked products.
Bill Wilkin, and I'm open to sell beef.
We're Rich and Benita Riley, and our girls aren't here yet, or aren't here tonight, but we back yonder farms, we do produce, poultry, certified naturally grown poultry, eggs, cookies, bagels, other baked goods like that.
My name is Joshua Zaremba. Honey, cut flowers, produce, eggs. So it's the first year for us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. We are glad that you were all here. It takes a lot of people to make a successful farmers market. We have a great group of board and volunteers, but you guys are all part of that too, and we are grateful for all of you and the hard work that you put in running your small businesses and producing food. We believe in what you do, and we want to do everything that we can to try and support you and help you be successful in your business. So we're going to turn the time over to Kirk now. He's going to go over cottage law, just all of the food, health, safety rules. And I made the presentation, so he gets to deal with how I ordered things.
Don't run off yet. Hello. Hello. What do I got to do to?
Just hit the space bar.
All right.
Yeah, to
All right.
fix it.
Well, welcome, everybody. We're going to go over cottage law. We have a new handout, that guidelines for cottage law. I have some up here if anybody doesn't have one with them.
You can come grab them at the break.
We can grab those. I also have a bunch of food allergen handouts up here as well. Just kind of a...
Amber just went off.
I did it.
No.
All right.
I have a bunch of those up here in this pile right here. Food allergens, labeling food allergens is something, well, I did do it.
I think it disconnected in the back. He hit something.
There it is.
He hit something in the back.
All right, I won't touch that again. All right, so how many food vendors do we have here? I see a few hands, all right.
And if you're, produce applies too, so you need to pay attention to what he's saying too. It's not just people that are processing food, but food handling.
Are there first-time producers? All right. So, it's very limited on your what you could do. Basically, you get one cut from the stalk or the vine, and that's it. No processing, no making up salads or mixes or anything.
Unless you have a certified kitchen.
Yes, certified kitchens. I was looking this over real quick to see. Honeys, most of you that are selling honey, and we have anybody selling honey? The big thing about honeys is it's pure honey. We can't cut it or add anything to it. Other than that, as long as we keep it pure honey and label it with your name and address and stuff, we're in pretty good shape.
think you have to have a weight on it too.
Labeling, yes, we're gonna go over labeling quite a bit here. So labeling has changed just a little bit, that you still need your name, address, and depending on what you're making, you need your ingredients from most to least. Doesn't have to be a percentage of nutritional value or anything in our situation, but from like flour, sugar, and you work your way on down to the least item that you put into that recipe. And each recipe has to be done according to that particular ingredient to that recipe. The thing that they're wanting to, that we need to start doing is adding our allergens to our labels. Allergens, I have the sheet up here, and they've recently added sesame seeds to that list. We have 9 allergens now, dairy being one, eggs being the other, fish, crustaceans, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, soybeans, and sesame. If you have any of those ingredients, and here's a little nugget, is if you have those ingredients even in your kitchen, that there's a chance that those ingredients could possibly get into whatever you're making, then you should label that your product may come in contact with these known allergens. I recommend that you look at companies that are corporate type businesses that have allergen labels. They don't necessarily identify each allergen, other than they list all the allergens, and they usually say that their product could be in contact with one of these allergens. It's basically a warning that you do have those things in your kitchen and that it could come in contact. This has got quite a bit of information. It talks about and some of it talks about the number of allergens that they have. People have severe allergy attacks. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anybody that has had an attack from a food allergen. They usually start swelling up, and a lot of times you can't tell it, it's their throat. Their throat starts swelling shut. All you know is they can't breathe. They're gasping for air and stuff. And I doubt, do we even have an EpiPen at the market? So I was going to say, I'm not a doctor, but EpiPens and Benadryl is your two favorite friends when it comes to these type of allergens. So anyway, I got a handout up here on that. On the labeling, we want to encourage, and it's going to become more and more a necessity in your labeling process. So you guys need to start incorporating that into it at this point in time. I do have some stuff up here, I believe, on labeling. If not, I can get it to you. So the Missouri Food Cottage Law has changed a little bit to your benefit, actually. You can now market your food on the internet. You still have to sell within the state, and you still have to sell to the end user, but you can sell as much as you want. There's no dollar cap on it anymore. So go to town. But you cannot wholesale. In other words, you can't sell to a shop that's going to sell to that end user. That's wholesaling. That's manufactured foods. That requires a kitchen. Your foods that you sell under the cottage law have to be basically shelf stable once they're done cooked. When you finish the baking process or whatever it is that you're doing, there's a list in this handout of basically the types of foods that are allowed in the cottage law. Cakes, pies, if they're able to be left on the countertop, they're probably okay. But if they require refrigeration, they're not. Now, there's some exceptions to everything. There's a lot of squiggly lines in these rules and regulations. So a lot of times we have to take it case by case on that. But if you have a cake or a pie or something that you're really wanting to do, but it's not shelf stable, as we say, after the cooking process, then we have to get a certified kitchen to go with that. And that's a process that you guys can be more, you need to contact me, basically. So go back to that list. That list is a good rule of thumb list. Now your jams and jellies and preserves, nothing sugar-free, low sugar added. It's got to be what I call leaded. You have to have all the good fat in it for it to be, sugars and fats for it to be considered okay. Even some of your preserves and jellies, if we get into, I want to say like a squash or something of that nature, the water mobility usually is your catch point on those. They may meet all the requirements, but the water mobility, in other words, they don't set up hard enough, that's what keeps them from being an acceptable
So like
jam.
pumpkin butters, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so apple butter is a pretty common one, and it's pretty thick. When you move the jar around, it's not rolling in the jar with you. But like squash jam or root butter or something like that, when you roll the jar, a lot of times it will roll with you. That's just a rule of thumb, but that's got a high water mobility, and that's not allowed. So now if you have a recipe that sets it up firmer, then we may have to look at that. But I've got a couple jars of jams in my office that were from a approved producer, and their water mobility is so off the charts that they obviously didn't do something right. In fact, it spoiled in the jar. It was so bad. And it was from a approved producer out of the area. Out of the area. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please.
So that's all the labeling stuff.
So this is your labeling stuff, and it's got there on the fourth one down, list any allergens in the food. Again, I recommend just making that a blanket statement. If you've got any of these allergens that are on the list, which are not on this list, but when you see the list on the handout, if you have those allergens in your kitchen, list it. Just list that you have these allergens within your kitchen. And then when you're selling, another thing that they're really putting a big emphasis on is making sure that you have that placard on your countertop or your marketing table that states that the product is not prepared in is prepared in a kitchen that is not inspected. So for me, it reads that we have nothing to do with cottage law. Well, that's not true. We just don't inspect your kitchen, but you still have to meet all the other requirements, and that's where I come in. Is if you don't meet the requirements, or if you have some type of a foodborne issue, then we are in the game. But we've always been through this farmers market. We've been very good about meeting those guidelines. So go ahead.
So this is what constitutes raw agricultural products. And then this was what you were saying, with only one cut.
Yeah. So one cut from the vine. That's been up for debate for many years, and we finally come down to the cut from the vine is a single cut. You cannot sample watermelon or cantaloupe or anything. If you sample fruit, you're supposed to use like a individual cup or a toothpick or something that you can hand it to them. You don't let them serve themselves though.
Honey, meat.
Meats, all right. So the biggest thing about meats is it's got to be processed through either USDA or MDA or MOAG. The difference between the two is MOAG's got to stay within the state. USDA can go out of the state. And then you have to follow their agriculture guidelines on selling the meat. We just want to make sure that you keep it in temperature and that you're providing a sanitary means of selling. So you would have to deal with another department. Do you deal with any of the meats at all?
No.
Brad Hughes is the gentleman's name that.
Yeah. He was at our house last week.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's been around the area here lately.
All right, and then the last one is kind of just.
Okay, our good old
Beyond.
canned low-acid foods. In fact, he was in the area due to the second line, the smoked, cured, and dried meats. Had a gentleman start selling some smoked jerky, had it on the internet. I get a phone call from Brad wanting to know if I've dealt with him. I'm like, I don't know anything about this guy. And, well, I got a meeting with him tomorrow morning. Brad went and introduced himself and explained to him how we were all going to become good friends. So, anyway, canning, salsa. Everybody got a great salsa recipe. Unfortunately, there's this nice little school that you have to go to, or you have to go through a packer to be able to actually sell your salsa. Unless you sell it fresh out of a certified kitchen. So that's the one thing. Haven't we had a couple over the last couple of years that have sold fresh, Bev?
Yes.
So, and that's a process that you basically got to write a HACCP plan for me, and what that basically is you're going to tell me where you're making your product at, how you're making it, and how you're selling it. So that's your fresh salsa. Barbecue sauces or other sauces, same thing. You have to go through a special process or send it to a packer that does a special process review for you, and usually, depending on it, there's some circumstances once you've gone through that you could bottle it, but most of the time if it's sealed or pressurized in any type of a canning type of a bottling situation, it's got to go through, you either have to go through a schooling or send it to a packer. Fermented foods, we'll deal with that. Anybody doing sprouts, seeds?
People who do microgreens, but.
So the microgreens are okay, sprouts are not. And it's a fine line, I get it. Fermented foods, it kind of depends on what we're doing. It depends on how we're doing it and the purpose of doing it. So again, if you're doing a fermented food, you need to have a one-on-one with me. Foods that are prepared on site, that's a one-on-one as well, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. If you have the equipment, if you have the stand, we've got a kettle corn that comes in, or has in the past, I don't know if you.
Yep, we'll be back.
Kettle corn, that's an inspected trailer by me, and so he's allowed to prepare his kettle corn on site and sell it. She's done tamales in the past, right, Ness? And she's got a trailer that she prepares the stuff in that's inspected by me. So that's how a lot of that stuff, but then she's got to have special stuff at the market as well. All right, is there another side or is
No,
that it?
that's it.
I'm going to hang around. Like I said, I've got a lot of handouts up here. Some of it's the same stuff we've had year after year, but if you're deciding to venture into a new direction in the food world, I've got a real great little handout over here. This is a great one on safety in the kitchen, and this really, if you're cooking at churches and stuff, this is a good one to take to your churches as well. Other than that, that's all I got.
Okay.
Any questions? No hands, one hand.
Pepper jelly's a no-no, right?
All right,
I'm just
so.
throwing that out there
No,
because-
so we had, over the new cottage ruling, we had a training session last week. And the guy that approved the pepper jellies using, because this is before you go, it's either yes or no. So the gentleman that approved it is now in Missouri's Manufactured Food, which he handles the canneries and stuff. So he was on there, and I said, so, if you cannot use your peppers out of your gardens, I can tell you that. But if you used a approved pre-pickled pepper and use that in your pepper jelly, is that allowed? And he says yes, and everybody else in the panel says absolutely not. And I just left it at that because I did that on purpose because he had, and I have been approving it. Now, if you use a pickled pepper that is manufactured or a store-bought pickled pepper, we've allowed you to use that into your pepper jellies. But to use your own homegrown peppers is absolutely a no. And I'm going to tell you that if you're going out of the county into other counties, from the reaction I got, is it's going to be a no there as well. So, and right now, because I was given an approval a few years ago, based on the method that you make it, we've been allowing it. But I pulled a lot of pepper jellies off the street side, people selling it at other markets or just street side, because they were using their own peppers, and I collected their jars of pepper jelly. So, and really that's, at this point in time, it's really kind of that, this farmer's market's really about the only place that it's being allowed, truthfully. So, as long as we keep doing it the right way and don't try to go against the grain, we're going to keep allowing it. All right?
Okay.
Any other questions?
What about freeze-dried herbs?
Freeze-dried herbs. Yes. And freeze-dried candy is allowed.
But not fruits and veggies.
But not fruit. So, what was it you said?
Nothing, I'm just fancy.
Yeah.
But not fruits and veggies.
Yes.
Not the healthy fruits and veggies, but you can freeze-dry, right? And Skittles and.
I didn't make the rules up, believe me.
If you freeze-dried the whole thing, though, rather than cutting it.
I don't know
You
how
know,
well that would freeze.
some of that I am going to go back up the
Okay.
state and ask them because, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of this stuff has got such squiggly lines on definition that it depends on who you talk to in the state even on whether it is or isn't allowed. I mean, there's just a lot of squiggly lines when it comes to trying to find those little niches in the food market, something different than, and a lot of it's trying to do it either under the food code where it describes a non-inspected kitchen or under the cottage law. That's where a lot of us are trying to get to where we can do this without having to have a kitchen that's inspected. So, all right.
Thank you, Kirk.
All right, I'll hang around if anybody's got a question, all right?
Thank you, Kirk.
Yes, Kirk really is our ally, and he tries to find, as you can tell, all the ways to say yes to us when we want to do things, as far as be safe. So if you have any questions about anything that you want to do, he's willing and ready to help you find a way to do them. Hi, Brad. Come on in. All right, we're going to turn the time over now to Jeff with weights and measures. So Jeff did you get all the scales certified?
I have one that I don't know who it belongs to. I think it's